Hello and welcome to Tinto Flavor Fridays, that time of the week where we are going to have a look at a certain country in the game that we're also very hyped about, EU5, and we'll see about all of the different flavor elements that are going to come along with that country, so we can decide if this is a country that we want to play when we get our hands on the game. Today we are looking at the Teutonic Order and by extension also the Livonian Order. I believe they start as a vassal, so we're getting a 2-for-1 deal, which I'm all about 2-for-1 deals. Sounds like a great idea. So, let us get in and see what is going on with the orders. Welcome to one more week of Tinto Flavor, the Happy Fridays, in which we take a look at the content of the super secret Project Caesar. Today, we'll be talking about the Christian military orders, and specifically the Teutonic Order and the Knights Hospitalier. Let's start without further ado. The glorious Order of Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem, also known as the Teutonic Order, faces its destiny on the stormy coasts of the Baltic Sea. Created to protect the Christian pilgrims on their way to the holy city of Jerusalem, its objective shifted to Christianize the pagan tribes of Prussia and the Baltic through the creation of a state on those lands. Under the leadership of our predecessor, Hochmeister Werner von Orschein, the Teutonic Order expanded its territorial holdings, but this expansion has not come without consequences. The Order's aggressive policies have created powerful enemies as the pagan tribes to the east have united and formed the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, then allying with our Catholic southern neighbour and rival, the Kingdom of Poland, which has set aside their Christian duty, joining with the pagans against us. The time has come for our order to prove that we are up to the crusading task we have set for ourselves, and show the world that even surrounded by enemies, our faith stands triumphant. So, as for the Knights Hospitalier, they conquered the island of Rhodos in the early 14th century, spurred by the fall of Acre in 1291, establishing a stronghold that would allow us to pursue our mission to protect Christian pilgrims. Rhodos, a picturesque island in the Aegean Sea, has become a thriving center for our military order, marked by fortifications and a bustling economy. However, this prosperity is countered by relentless attacks by neighboring Muslim fleets. We have demonstrated remarkable resilience, defending Rhodos through ferocious battles, showcasing our martial prowess and unwavering dedication. Nonetheless, the future of our order looks bleak, as our enemies have become more powerful and disunity among the Catholic countries runs rampant. Recovering the Holy Land seems to be a fading hope with each passing day, but our determination is unbreakable, and we will pursue that objective until our last man falls. Beautiful. Good stuff there. So we have the Teutonic Order led by Hochmeister Dietrich von Altenburg, 66 admin skill, 33 diplo skill, and 66 mill skill. And we have here the Knights Hospitalier, led by Grandmaster Helion de Villeneuve. Or Villeneuve. 33, 33, and 66. I would say these numbers probably... I feel like these are numbers that need just a little tweaking. I'm not saying that this guy historically should not have been 66 mil, but I think it needs a little bit of a tweak so that people don't seem to always have the same stats, right? Like a 67, a 32, a 30, something that makes it so that it's not all the same, right? 66 and 33, like that's, 6 numbers with one of those 2 numbers. You know what I mean? I feel like that wouldn't be too much of a stretch to just increase or decrease by 1 or 2. If these are the rough stats that you want, even have it be slightly dynamic, right? These could be the base stats that the game decides, okay, this is what you get, and then every time you start a new game, then every stat will be increased by, plus or minus 5, or anywhere between, minus 5 and positive 5. So you might end up with, a 71, 38, 71, or you might end up with 61, 28, 61, like, that kind of way. But a little bit randomized would be kind of nice. Anyway, the Teutonic Order starts with an interesting political and diplomatic situation. Obviously, we start here with Teutonic Order. We have a bunch of these guys as vassals, and also Livonia is a vassal as well. So you're in a pretty strong position, though you do start at war. We have several vassals, including the Livonian Order, but also starts at war with Poland and Lithuania, something that is not final, since we're considering representing the Teutonic Polish conflicts with a truce instead, as it was resolved peacefully after a few years after the start of the game. Okay. I am fine with it being either way, right? countries starting at war is something that EU4 used to have a lot of, and then shied away from a little bit more. And then had wars start with events shortly after the start of the game. And if that's something here that they want to do, then I'm fine with that as well. But historically, it was resolved peacefully a few years after the start of the game. I feel then in that case, maybe if they should be at war at the start of the game, maybe they should be at war at the start of the game, you know? But I could see it going either way on that front, to be honest. While the situation of the Knights Hospitalia is also interesting in a different way. Obviously, we start on the island of Rhodes. Unique location, minor. Let's go! Let's go! They're doing it! They're doing it! Who is it that wrote this? Who is it that wrote this? Pavia, you legend. Okay, so it is no secret that I visited Barcelona. I visited Tinto last month. And I'm obviously not going to talk about what I did while I was there. That's not allowed. But I am allowed to say, probably, that I did speak with Pavia, and I had suggested to him directly face-to-face that the acronym for a country with only a single location should be named Unique Location Minor, because the acronym then is ULM, and I think that's amazing. Because it's not a province anymore, right? It's what he's did it. Let's go, Unique Location Minor. It's now official. I win. I deserve the plaudits here because this is me. I did this. Oh, great. Unique Location. Yes, we have several hundred or thousand. I have no idea. Ulms on the map. Clearly, it's beautiful. The Holy Roman Empire full of ulms. You couldn't fit a single extra ulm in this bad boy. That's awesome. That is fantastic. Anyway. Oh, I'm very happy. You can tell. Okay. All military orders share some common flavor, starting with a major government reform. We have the military order, giving you extra clergy levy size, which is probably going to be quite important for a knightly order for sure. Maybe the target of military sponsorships. We learned about that before as well. You cannot be converted. You are allowed to have. I assume this is clergy characters can lead armies. We have monthly progress to belligerent and offensive. The military orders were created in the Middle Ages as a militant body of Catholic Church. Its members are both warriors, miles, and monks, fratres, who take religious vows and are destined to defend and expand Christianity. Based. That unlocks some unique buildings as well. We have the Order headquarters, has 50 clergymen staffing it, giving you plus 20 monthly manpower. It's an age of traditions. I keep forgetting what the names of the ages are. My bad. Gets you some fort defense, and you can recruit regular regiments as well. Production methods, you require these goods to be in your market as well. Lumber, some tools, glass, fine cloth, and gold for construction. We also have the Order Stronghold. I assume this is the upgrade, or is it just a separate building entirely? A fortified base of the military order is strategically positioned for defense as a launching point for crusades or territorial control. It's not an upgrade because we've seen before upgrades they are visible in this UI, so this is just a separate building. More defense and clergy power in that location, plus 100%, which is kind of huge. And then we have the Order Commandery, giving you some gold, which is kind of cute, liking that. Manpower to owner as well, giving you a tiny amount. Order Commandery is a building owned by the military orders outside their own territory that serves two purposes: getting revenues from the exploitation of the surrounding lands and drafting new members for the order. So yeah, building this in other people's countries so that you get a little bit of gold and a little bit of money would be kind of nice. The Order Headquarters is a capital-only building, so one per country. The Order Stronghold is a building you can build in any location you own, while the Order Commandery is a foreign building that you can build in the lands of any Catholic country with which you have good relations, making it a powerful tool to support your crusading effort. Cool. We also have an estate privilege for your clergy, giving you military orders, a little bit of extra discipline. I don't think we know if discipline works the same way as it does in EU4, so I would... it's probably going to be similar, right? More discipline, more better. Troops fight better. So that's cool. But yeah, we don't know exactly what the mechanics mean yet. So you get 2.5% discipline. Have the military order government reform gives another 5%. So are you getting 7.5% here? Sponsorship of the military order to any country gives you some morale, and then army maintenance as well. I mean, I'm not sure how to interpret this. Is that if we have military orders? I don't know, because if you have military orders government reform, well, of course it's right here. Oh no, this isn't a state privilege, but government reform. I don't know. If you can parse this, let me know in the comment section below. Because wait, it's a clergy estate privilege. And then aren't government reforms like the estate privileges for the crown? I'm confused, but yeah, if you know, let me know. The military orders were created after the Crusades began as a means of fusing the discipline and devotion of the monks with the martial skill and experience of the knights. They spread throughout Christendom, but other religions also developed similar types of orders involved in wars of religion. It unlocks a unique diplomatic action with other Catholic countries, the sponsorship of military order. So that's this one here. Teutons will pay them nothing, okay. It spreads embrace institutions, that's cool. It breaks if war breaks out, sure. Then they both gain sponsored military order. Okay. And that gives religious influence, religious prestige, monthly army tradition, and I assume it's also morale here? As being theocracies, the military order also has access to unique laws and policies, such as the Divine Cause, giving you some fort defense and monthly progress to communalism policy. Very cool. While monarchies and republics are content with an existence in the world, the Holy State requires a deeper spiritual meaning. A divine cause shall guide our hand to destiny. Yeah, it also allows policies of safeguard holy sites, combat heresy, expulsion of heathens, and the pursuit of knowledge. We also have the Holy Mission Law, giving you minus 20% fort maintenance and progress to defensive. I think this is going to be pretty good. It's been a while, so this may have changed, but the last time we saw what offensive versus defensive meant, I said that I thought defensive was a much stronger society to go towards, right? It looked like a stronger set of bonuses. That is a while ago now, it was several months ago, so that may have changed, it may have been rebalanced, so it is not going to be the obvious choice, but apparently people disagree that it was the obvious choice as well, so maybe, maybe it's all down to personal preference at the end of the day. Also allows some more policies, internal, external, balanced missions, commercial missions. So this is the kind of government reforms that we saw in EU4. All of these, I think, all existed for theocracies. I think it was the Tier 2 reform was all of these ones. So that's cool to see those. The guideline for every single one of our actions is the holy mission we have received from our divine ruler. The vision of the high powers foreseen for us shall come to fruition. We also have the monastic order policy here, giving even more fort maintenance reduction. This country is ruled by the members of the monastic order. The order's hierarchy and rules replace the need for most laws and administration. We have a marriage law of celibacy as well. Going into the more unique content for each, the knights have access to a couple more reforms and privileges. We have the Crusade in the sea, making galleys cheaper to build, to maintain, to repair. Armies disembark faster, progress to naval and belligerent. As our focus changed from defending castles in the Holy Land to fighting pirates and heathens in the seas, we had to change the way our order operates. Galleys will be our battlefields and our first bulwarks against the enemies of Christ. We also have autonomous local commanders, giving extra army tradition and progress to decentralized. The local commanders that man the posts of our order have long demanded increased autonomy in the name of efficient self-governance and allegiance to our cause. We also start with another unique estate privileges and a work of art. We have Culm's Law, giving maximum tax for the burgher's estate minus 10%, which is not great for you, of course. More taxes is better for you. Modified version of the Magdeburg Law, the Culm Law is the privilege granted to all cities in Prussia, which secured the mercantile interests of the city merchant guilds and granted them significant autonomy from their overlord. As for our work of art, we have the Chronicon Terrae Prusae. It's made by Peter von Duisburg. The Chronicle is written in Latin of the Teutonic Order in Prussia, details their arrival in the area and the wars against the pagan tribes there. And both have their own set of advances as well. So for the Teutons, we have Crusader discipline, giving you extra discipline. Very nice indeed. And it is, yes, the Age of Traditions. I was correct. Our Grand Order was forged in the flames and blood of the Third Crusade during the Siege of Acre in 1191. While we originally nursed the sick and feeble, the Order has transformed into a militarized group of knights of unbreakable devotion and discipline. We also have Teutonic Heavy Cavalry, giving cav power and maintenance cost reduction. Nice there. There's no greater symbol of power and military prowess than Heavy Cavalry. While for many states the cavalry is made of nobles, every Teutonic knight is also a member of our Heavy Cavalry and undergoes the strict training of a Crusader. We have the Reformed Order Army, available in the Age of Renaissance. Non-cultural every size going up, so being able to hire troops of different cultures is quite useful. The German Knights veterans from Crusades and countless European wars are simply not numerous enough to remain the base of our armies. Now we must reorganize the army to pave the way for domestically levied regiments capable of replacing the knights on the battlefield. Teutonic religious authority in the Age of Discovery gives you religious influence and pop conversion speed. We'll put an end to the practice of loose religious autonomy of the local bishops within our realm. All religious matters, from taxation to conversion of the locals, will from now on be state matters. One state, one religion, available in the Age of Absolutism, gives tolerance to the true faith. Reserve all state offices only for those of our religion. Heretics and heathens are no longer welcome in our realm. Assistance to the suffering, giving army reinforce cost 20%, seems really nice. The order is named the Knights Hospitalier. Oh, this is for Knights Hospitaliers. It's named the Knights Hospitalier for a reason. We were originally the protective force of a pilgrims' hospital in Jerusalem. Though Jerusalem is lost to the Saracens, we still provide medical aid to those in need, including our brave knights who hardly return to the battlefield much faster than most armies. We have Reconquista of the Sea, giving extra galley power and ship capture chance, and our frequent clashes with the dreaded Corsairs, the Turkish and Barbary menaces. The thought has occurred to us that the Corsairs might have the right idea about seagoing looting and pillaging of the coast, but they're directing their predations to the wrong targets. Piracy may be a vile sin in peacetime, but in times of war it's known as privateering. And that's surely another thing altogether, right? True. Facts, actually. Yeah. Scourge of the Corsairs gives you some naval damage done. The famed Turkish privateer Hayreddin Barbarossa fought many legendary encounters against the Knights, but Barbarossa was hardly the only Corsair we've encountered. Turkish raiding and looting of all southern Europe, tolerated by the Barbary states and funded by the Turks, must end. The Knights will do their job protecting innocent sailors at any cost. We have the never-ending crusade in the Age of Reformation, giving an extra bit of discipline. Our mission will never finish as long as any Catholic can be in any danger for religious reasons. Be it pilgrimage to the tomb of our Lord and Saviour, or simply cross the seas without fear of the Corsairs. We will never stop training to be prepared to enter combat immediately. Cool stuff there. And then finally we have in the Age of Revolutions an order with a state, giving you an extra 12.5% manpower and 20% faster recruitment speed. While some nations are often described as an army with a state, we, on the other hand, have always been an order with a nation, dating back to our acquisition of Rhodes from the Romans. Nevertheless, we cannot help but admire how efficiently they have harnessed their resources to become a formidable nation. Inspired by their success, we'll implement reforms to ensure our military can confront any adversary with confidence. So, the Teutonic Order and the Knights also have a few dozen unique events each, but since today's Tinto flavor is already long enough, let's just show one example for each. So, for the Teutonic Order, we have the St. George's Night Uprising. Calamity has struck on our possessions in Estonia. The native Estonian population, displeased by the fact we showed them the light of Christ all these decades ago, have risen up in an armed insurgency. On a calm day, they launched a deadly attack on our garrisons and castles. From amongst themselves, they have chosen 4 leaders they dare call kings. Moreover, to add insult to injury, in their act of diabolic vengeance, they have started slaying their former overlords and caregivers in a pagan fury. We will not tolerate that, and their rebellion shall be crushed. So, historically, on the night of St. George in 1343, which, funnily enough, it might be, when was St. George's Day? It was like 2 days ago or something, on Wednesday. So the 23rd of May. I feel like that, right? Maybe this should have been shown on Wednesday's Tinto Talks. Anyway, on the night of St. George in 1343, the native Estonian population rebelled against their Danish overlords and the various foreign nobles that ruled over them. To lead the rebellion, they selected 4 kings from amongst themselves, who would later be lured into a trap and killed. The rebellion transcended the Danish borders and spread to the territories of the Livonian Order and the Özel Islands. So damn them is our option. Every owned Estonian pop in Estonia loses 50% pop satisfaction. That is crazy high. And St. George's Night Uprising, 75% of them also changed their religion to Muinaisusko. Muinaisusko. Susko is religion, right? Muinai, I don't know, maybe it's the name of a god, I'm not sure. So 150% progress for St. George's Night Uprising as well. So the aftermath of the Crusade era for the Knights of Rhodes. In 1291, Acre fell to the Egypt. So Acre. I feel like if you're playing as the Knights, this should not be localized to the current owner. Especially if they're a foreign religion, you'd be like, I'm not going to call it Istanbul. I'm still going to call it Constantinople. That kind of way, you know. So, in 1291, Acre fell to the Egyptians, and with it our last foothold in the territories of the Holy Land. Our hopes and faith were put to the test as we were pushed back by the heathens. Our bloodied struggle amounted to naught more than piles of bodies and shame. Since then, we retreated to Cyprus and later to Rhodes in an effort to regain our balance and eventually retake lands rightfully ours. However, as time goes on and the old guard took part in the siege of Acre, has departed this world, many voices in our court have given rise to doubts regarding the nature of our order. So, I guess we can choose what we want to do. Remain crusaders, look inwards and develop, or not disturb the status quo. So, that's all for today. Next Friday is a bank holiday in Tinto, so no Tinto flavor, but on Monday they will have Tinto map feedback for Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. On Wednesday there will be a Tinto talk about Protestantism and the wars of religion. So, we're keeping up with the religious theme for another week. Right, but that is the end of today's Tinto Talk. My thoughts are, look, I wasn't super sure about playing as a unique location miner, but there's a lot of flavor here, and maybe, you know, that kind of... People always like the Phoenix Rises kind of campaigns, right? We like the underdogs going back to reconquer what was once theirs. Like, those kind of campaigns have always done well in EU4, Imperator, like, all games, really. And I feel like this is going to be maybe one of them, right? There is a lot of stuff here to make your army punch well above its weight. Lots of discipline in here, army morale, getting manpower from being sponsored from all over Europe. That just seems really cool. And look, it might be kind of charged, and, you know, in modern times, people have taken it very wrongly. But kind of like the idea of going on crusade with the lads, you know, kind of way. The aesthetics of it are pretty fun, right? That definitely didn't come out right, but I hope you know what I mean, right? Aesthetically, you know, Crusader Kings is a game. They chose that name for a reason, because it's cool. And, you know, Crusading Knights, that kind of... It's just cool. And I feel like the same is going to be true here for the Teutonic Order. Starting at war with Poland, you're in a relatively strong position because, you know, you've got all of the discipline bonuses that we've seen in this dev diary. Starting with vassals, starting with an area that, you know, you could probably do a good bit of trade with Sweden and Denmark here. And there's a lot of pagans to convert. So, yeah, I think this is going to be quite fun. Yeah, Lithuania, I believe, is still pagan in this period. So you got some stuff that you are going to be able to do here as Teutonic Order. And honestly, I quite liked playing Theocracies in EU4. I'm sure it's going to be the same here. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. What is going to be your preferred start of these two? Are you interested in becoming the Knights Hospitalier, retaking the Holy Land, or maybe deciding to just be an absolute menace on the seas? Yeah, let me know your thoughts. If you haven't already, you should probably subscribe to the channel. You know, we've got 43%, 46.3% of you who watch my videos are subscribed. Let's make this number bigger than this number. That would be kind of nice. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, toodaloo. Bye-bye.